You know, we all love that warm, fuzzy feeling you get when someone throws a genuine compliment your way.
Yay.
But then there are those.
The ones that just miss the mark.
Exactly. They just leave you feeling kind of weird, you know?
Oh, absolutely. I think we've all been on the receiving end of a compliment that just felt a little off.
So today we're doing a deep dive into those cringe-worthy attempts at praise. Those backhanded compliments, or maybe just plain awkward ones, that can sometimes do more harm than good.
It'll be fun.
I think so too. And to guide us on this journey into the sometimes perilous world of compliments, we're turning to this article from Verywell Mind called 10 Worst Compliments You Can Give Someone.
I love that article.
Me too. It's like a survival guide for navigating those tricky social situations where you want to be nice, but you also don't want to make things weird.
So true. And it really gets into the psychology behind why some compliments work and others just totally backfire.
Exactly. So we'll unpack those complimenting pitfalls, try to understand why they happen, and maybe even learn a thing or two about how to give compliments that actually make people feel good.
Great plan. So the article breaks down bad compliments into 10 categories, each with its own special kind of awkwardness.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Where do we even begin?
Let's start with the too frequent complimenter, someone who just showers everyone with praise all the time.
Oh, yeah. I think we all know someone like that. Like every other sentence out of their mouth is, "You're amazing."
Yeah.
You're the best. It's almost like they can't help themselves.
Right. And it might seem like they're just being, super nice, but there's actually a psychological principle at play here called the scarcity principle.
Scarcity principle. That sounds a bit intense for a conversation about compliments.
Well, just think about it. Something that's rare or hard to get, like a limited edition item, automatically becomes more valuable.
Yeah, okay, I see where you're going with this. So it's like when you're constantly showering someone with praise, it just starts to lose its value.
Exactly. It's like finding a diamond in a pile of pebbles. It just doesn't have the same wow factor.
So it's not about being stingy with compliments, it's more about making them count.
Precisely.
Okay, I'm starting to rethink my entire compliment strategy already.
Good.
But let's keep going because I have a feeling this is just the tip of the compliment iceberg. What other cringe-worthy compliments are lurking out there?
All right, let's talk about the extreme compliment. Those over-the-top pronouncements that are so exaggerated that kind of make you want to crawl under a rock.
Oh, I can practically feel the secondhand embarrassment just thinking about it.
Yeah.
Like telling someone their basic jeans and t-shirt is the most stunning outfit you've ever seen.
Exactly. I mean, come on. These compliments are so out of proportion to reality that the receiver is often left wondering, are they serious? Or are they messing with me?
Right. And even if their heart's in the right place, it just puts this weird pressure on you to live up to those, totally unrealistic expectations.
You get it.
Okay, so next time someone tells me I look like a runway model in my sweats, I'll know to take it with a whole shaker full of salt.
Exactly. But speaking of awkwardness, let's move on to a category that's all about keeping it appropriate, especially with people you might not know very well. The overly familiar compliment.
Okay, so we're talking about those compliments that just feel too much too soon. Like you're at a networking event and someone you literally just met starts commenting on your appearance or something super personal. Definitely not the best way to make a good first impression.
Right. This is where boundaries are so crucial. Complimenting someone's appearance or, other personal attributes, especially coming from a stranger, can feel really uncomfortable, like a violation of your personal space.
Yeah, it's like they're trying to fast forward the relationship without actually putting in the work.
And it can be extra problematic if it's coming from someone who's in a position of power.
That makes a lot of sense. Stick to complimenting their work or their skills if you're not close.
Good advice.
Okay, what's next? What other compliment calamities are we dissecting today?
Let's talk about the compliment with an ulterior motive. Those folks who only seem to compliment you when they need a favor or want something from you?
Yes. So manipulative. Like suddenly your coworker is showering you with praise right before they ask you to cover their shift.
Bingo. Or when that friend who never calls suddenly starts gushing about how much they admire you and then bam, they hit you up for a loan.
Yeah, it just leaves you feeling used, doesn't it? Like you're being manipulated, which can really damage trust.
Absolutely. And there's actually a psychological principle behind this one too. It's called reciprocity.
Okay, I'm sensing a theme here. Compliment Psychology 101. So what is reciprocity?
It's basically this natural human tendency to want to return favors, even if we didn't really want to do the favor in the first place.
Oh, so that's why those compliments with strings attached can feel so icky.
Yeah.
Because they're playing on our natural instinct to reciprocate.
Exactly. They know if they give you a compliment, you're more likely to feel obligated to do something for them in return.
Wow. It's like a complimenting Jedi mind trick.
Right.
So I guess the takeaway here is, before you dish out a compliment, ask yourself, am I genuinely appreciating this person, or am I just trying to butter them up to get something I want?
Great question. Now, speaking of insincerity, let's move on to a category that's near and dear to my heart, backhanded compliments. This is where we get into the lovely realm of, you look great for your age, or you're so smart for, fill in the blank.
Ouch. Yeah, those are painful. I actually once got a backhanded compliment so bad it made me want to, disappear.
Oh, no.
Seriously, these compliments just sting.
They do. It's like they're designed to put you down while pretending to be nice.
And it's that subtle cruelty, that can be more hurtful than a straightforward insult. Because you're just left there wondering, wait, were they trying to be mean, or were they actually trying to compliment me?
Exactly. It just leaves you second guessing everything.
It's almost like they're trying to dim your shine to make themselves feel brighter.
That's a good way to put it. And if you find yourself giving these types of compliments, it might be worth reflecting on your own insecurities a bit.
Ooh, that's deep. So what's next on our list of complimenting catastrophes? This deep dive is already making me rethink my entire approach to compliments.
Well, get ready for some awkwardness, because next up is the awkward compliment. Those well-intentioned attempts at praise that just go horribly, hilariously wrong.
Oh, I love a good awkward moment. Spill the tea.
Yeah.
Do you have any good stories about awkward compliment mishaps?
I'm sure we've all had a few, but before I embarrass myself too much, how about you share one of your awkward compliment moments? I bet our listeners can relate.
Oh, I have a perfect one. Once I tried to compliment someone on their cooking by saying, "This is almost as good as my mom's."
Oh my gosh, no.
I know. It did not land well. I spent the rest of the evening trying to backpedal, so hard.
It happens to the best of us. It really does highlight how easily things can be misinterpreted, even when our hearts are in the right place. It shows how important clarity and self-awareness are in communication. We need to really think about how our words might be perceived, especially in different cultural contexts.
It's a good reminder that things can get lost in translation, even with the best intentions.
For sure.
Okay, let's move on to the next complimenting pitfall before I relive any more of my awkward past. What's next?
Okay, let's talk about the desperate compliment. Those compliments that are less about genuine appreciation and more about the giver's need for validation. Like they're constantly showering people with praise, hoping to get some back in return.
Oh yeah, I could see how that would be off-putting. It's like they're using compliments as a way to fill a void within themselves. They're seeking external validation instead of looking for it within.
Exactly. And while it might come from a good place, it just feels inauthentic. The receiver can sense that desperation, and it makes them feel like they're being used as a means to an end.
So it all goes back to being mindful of our own motivations when we give a compliment.
Always a good idea. Now let's get real about a category that's particularly important to address: the creepy compliment. These are the ones that cross the line, making you feel uncomfortable or even unsafe. They often focus on physical attributes in a way that feels objectifying or just intrusive.
Yikes. Yeah, those are the worst.
Yeah.
It's like they're reducing you to your appearance and just completely ignoring everything else that makes you,
Yuck. And it's especially important to point out that this is extra problematic when there's a power imbalance or when the receiver hasn't invited this type of attention. It's a total violation of boundaries and can make someone feel really vulnerable.
This is making me think back to those overly familiar compliments we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
It seems like there's a very fine line between a compliment and something that just feels totally inappropriate, especially when power dynamics are involved.
You're so right. And that line can be pretty blurry. That's why it's so important to be mindful of our words and, just err on the side of caution.
Good advice. All right, we're down to the last two types of bad compliments. What's next?
Let's talk about the group compliment. When someone decides to sing your praises in front of a whole crowd.
Oof. I can see how that would be awkward. Some people love that kind of attention, but I'd much rather receive a compliment in private.
Me too. It's all about context, really. What might be a totally harmless, even flattering compliment in private can become super awkward or embarrassing when it's broadcast to a whole group. especially if it's about something personal or sensitive.
Right. It's like all of a sudden you're put on the spot and expected to like perform this gratitude routine.
Exactly. So the moral of the story is before you decide to give someone a shout out in front of a crowd, think about how they might feel in that situation.
Consider your audience. Okay, that leaves us with one last category of compliment chaos. What's the final faux pas we're dissecting today?
Let's wrap things up with the flirty compliment, a category that requires extra care and attention to navigate successfully.
Oh, I can definitely see how this one could go wrong. Flirting is like a delicate dance, and one wrong step can lead to some major awkwardness.
You got it. While flirting can be, fun and appropriate in certain contexts, it's crucial to be mindful of the signals you're sending and, most importantly, to respect the other person's boundaries.
This is kind of reminding me of those creepy compliments we talked about earlier. It seems like there's a fine line between a flirty compliment and something that crosses a boundary, and sometimes it can be hard to tell the difference.
Absolutely. What might seem like harmless flirtation to you could be misconstrued or completely unwanted by the other person.
So it's all about reading the room, paying attention to body language, and respecting the other person's cues.
Exactly. When in doubt, err on the side of caution.
Good advice. It sounds like we've covered a lot of ground here, but I have a feeling there's still more to explore when it comes to the art of the compliment.
Oh, there's definitely more. We've really only scratched the surface. In the next part of our deep dive, we'll shift gears and actually explore what makes a compliment truly effective.
Okay, I'm already looking forward to it. We'll be right back to continue this conversation and dive into the art of delivering compliments that are both sincere and impactful. Okay, welcome back to our deep dives into the world of compliments.
Part 2.
We spent that last part dissecting all the ways compliments can go wrong. And honestly, I'm a little terrified to ever compliment anyone again.
I feel you. But don't worry, we're not going to leave you hanging with a head full of compliment fails. This part of our deep dive is all about redemption, exploring what makes a compliment truly effective.
Okay, good. Because I am ready to ditch the awkwardness and become like a complimenting pro. So spill the secrets. What are the keys to delivering praise that actually makes someone's day?
Well, I think the foundation of any good compliment is sincerity, right? Like a genuine compliment comes from a place of, actual appreciation, not manipulation or ulterior motives.
Okay, so you're saying it's about acknowledging something you truly admire or value in the other person, not just trying to, get on their good side or whatever.
Exactly. It's about being authentic, not just like trying to butter someone up.
Okay, authenticity, got it. But how do you express that sincerity in a way that actually feels impactful and doesn't, fall flat?
Specificity is key. Instead of just saying, you're great, try to pinpoint exactly what impressed you about them. Like instead of saying, good job on that presentation, you could say something like, wow, I was really impressed by your presentation today. The way you explained that complex concept was so clear and engaging.
That's so true. When someone calls out a specific detail, it just shows that they were really paying attention, you know? It's like they're saying, hey, I see you and I appreciate the effort you put in.
Exactly. It just makes the compliment feel so much more personal and meaningful because it shows that you're not just throwing around like generic praise. You're actually taking the time to, notice something unique about them.
Okay, I'm loving these tips. Sincerity, specificity. What else should we keep in mind?
Timing. Timing is so important. A well-timed compliment can be incredibly powerful. Like, imagine someone's feeling down or discouraged. A sincere compliment could be just the thing to, lift their spirits.
Oh, yeah. It's like a little ray of sunshine, breaking through the clouds. And you're right, I've never really thought about it that way, but it makes so much sense. It's all about reading the room and being sensitive to the other person's emotional state.
Exactly. And on the flip side, you also want to avoid giving compliments that could be like misconstrued or make someone uncomfortable. Like you probably wouldn't want to, compliment someone's appearance in a professional setting or anything like that.
Right. Context is everything.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've got sincerity, specificity, and timing. Any other secret ingredients to crafting a compliment that truly shines?
A compliment doesn't have to be elaborate or over the top to be effective. Sometimes a simple, I really appreciate your help, or that's a great idea can go a long way.
So it's not about flowery language or grand gestures. It's about just expressing genuine appreciation, no matter how small.
Exactly. It really is the thought that counts.
But even with the best intentions, We all make mistakes sometimes, right?
Oh, totally.
Like a compliment just totally backfires and things get awkward, like super awkward.
I've been there. So what's the best way to handle those moments when a compliment goes terribly wrong?
Yeah. What do you do when you put your foot in your mouth?
First of all, don't beat yourself up about it. We're all human and we all make mistakes. The important thing is to just acknowledge the situation and, try to smooth things over. Like if you realize you said something offensive or it was misconstrued, offer a sincere apology.
That's a good tip. Just own up to it.
Yeah.
Sometimes a simple apology is all it takes. But what about those situations where, like, the other person misinterprets the compliment? Like, what if they take offense to something that you genuinely meant as a kind gesture?
Yeah, those situations are definitely tough, and it's important to, handle them with sensitivity and respect. If someone reacts negatively to a compliment, even if you didn't intend any harm, you have to acknowledge their feelings and apologize for any unintended offense.
So it's not about, like, trying to defend yourself or explain away their feelings. It's about validating their experience.
Right. You could say something like, I understand why you might feel that way. That wasn't my intention at all, and I apologize if my words came across in a way that hurt you.
That's actually a really helpful script. I'm going to keep that one in my back pocket.
Okay.
But even if a compliment doesn't, land perfectly, the fact that you made the effort to express appreciation is still a positive thing, right?
Absolutely. It shows that you care. You're trying to build a positive connection.
That's a good point. But this whole conversation has got me thinking, like, why are compliments so powerful in the first place? What is it about them that can have such a profound impact on our relationships and, even our well-being?
I love that question. I think compliments are powerful because they tap into a fundamental human need for connection and validation. When someone offers a sincere compliment, it makes us feel seen, heard, appreciated.
It's like they're acknowledging our worth, reminding us that we matter.
Exactly. And when we feel good about ourselves, we're more likely to be kind and compassionate to others. So compliments can actually create this ripple effect of positivity, making the world a little brighter, one kind word at a time.
I love that. Like one of those cheesy motivational posters that says kindness is contagious.
Yeah.
But with a scientific twist.
Totally. And there's actually research to back that up. Studies have shown that receiving compliments can actually activate the reward center in our brains, releasing dopamine, which makes us feel good.
Whoa. So it's like getting a little hit of happiness just from a compliment. Okay, we've talked about the good, the bad, and the awkward. Is there anything else we need to know about the art of the compliment before we wrap up this part of our deep dive?
Actually, there is one more important aspect of complimenting that we haven't touched on yet. The art of receiving compliments gracefully.
Oh, you're so right. I have definitely been guilty of deflecting or downplaying compliments in the past. This old thing. It's like we're almost conditioned to shy away from praise.
It's so common. A lot of people struggle to, accept compliments without feeling awkward or embarrassed. But receiving a compliment gracefully is actually just as important as giving one well.
So how do we become more comfortable receiving compliments without, letting our inner critic take over and sabotage the whole thing?
Well, I think it starts with recognizing that, deflecting or downplaying a compliment can actually be kind of disrespectful to the giver.
Really? I never thought about it that way.
Yeah, it can kind of send the message that you don't value their opinion or, you don't believe you deserve the praise.
Wow. Okay, that's a good point.
So next time someone gives you a compliment, try resisting the urge to deflect or downplay. Instead, take a moment to actually absorb the compliment and allow yourself to feel good about it. A simple thank you is usually enough, but if the compliment is, particularly meaningful, you can always elaborate on why it resonated with you.
I love that. We're completing the loop of appreciation. We're letting the giver know that their words were heard and appreciated.
Exactly. And as you become more comfortable receiving compliments, you'll find that it not only boosts your own self-esteem, but it also strengthens your connections with others.
It's a win-win. I love it. Okay, this whole conversation has been so insightful. I feel like I've learned so much about the power of compliments, way more than I ever thought I would.
Me too.
We've explored the disastrous, the delightful, and everything in between.
The whole spectrum of compliments.
Yes. But now we have to take a quick break. We'll be right back for the third and final part of this deep dive into the world of compliments. Welcome back to our deep dive into the fascinating world of compliments.
I'm so glad you're back.
We've really been through it all, haven't we?
We have all the ways those well-intentioned attempts at praise can go so wrong. And of course, all the secrets to giving compliments that genuinely make someone's day.
Exactly. But as we wrap up this exploration, I'm curious, is there something else you'd like to share about compliments? Something that goes beyond, just the mechanics of giving and receiving them?
You know what? There is, I think, at the very heart of really meaningful complimenting is the power of noticing.
Okay, tell me more.
Well, before we can even, think about giving a compliment, we first have to take the time to truly see the people around us.
You're so right. It's like we get so caught up in the whirlwind of our own lives that we forget to pause and appreciate the people who, actually make our lives richer.
It's true. It's so easy to get stuck in our own heads. But when we make a conscious effort to kind of shift our focus outwards, and notice the good in others, it opens our eyes to a whole world of beauty that's all around us.
I love that. It's like we're training ourselves to see the world through this lens of gratitude and appreciation. And when we approach our interactions with that mindset, then compliments flow naturally.
Exactly. They become less about, following some set of rules and more about expressing heartfelt appreciation.
Beautiful. So it's not just about mastering the art of the compliment. It's about cultivating a heart that's open to appreciating the good in others.
Exactly. And when we do that, not only do our relationships flourish, but the world just becomes a brighter, more connected place.
This deep dive has been such an eye-opening experience. I feel like I've gained a whole new appreciation for the simple yet profound power of compliments and the ripple effect they can have on not just the people we're complimenting, but on ourselves too.
Couldn't agree more. It's been a real pleasure exploring this topic with you. And I really do hope that our conversation has inspired you to, be more mindful in your interactions and to really use the power of compliments to spread a little more kindness and connection in the world.
Absolutely. And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this episode of The Deep Dive.
Sad to see it end.
Me too. But all good things must come to an end.
I guess so.
So for all of you listening out there, here's a final thought to ponder as you go about your day. Think back to the best compliment you've ever received. What was it, and why did it resonate so deeply with you? Hold on to that feeling and let it inspire you to share that same gift of appreciation with others.